Driving test leaving from Garretts Green at about 2:30. Now, the road is really quite packed the last few days. And this one went out on a Friday as well, so some of the schools do break up earlier. So traffic wise, Fridays after 1 generally is fairly busy. So let's see how it goes. As always, if you find this helpful, please drop any comment or emoji just to help boost the algorithm and help get it to more learners. Now, I don't actually have the fault sheet for this one, so I am going to have to just point things out, such as the awkward road junctions and difficulties that you might face throughout the test on this route. Not too much traffic built up here today. Sometimes it could be a lot worse than this. Your clutch control's still going to have to be on point, but there's not too much to worry about. Positioning could have been a little bit more forward and to the left. There's not a fault there, it's just a recommendation. So take note of those speed limit signs, it's 20 miles per hour until you see otherwise. And remember, at this point, the examiner might not say a thing. They will be expecting you to go straight ahead if they say nothing. Just because they're not saying anything, do not forget your observations. Make sure you check each side of the road at least once before you emerge. So again at this junction, if you're going straight ahead, the examiner won't say a word. They're actually going left at this moment, and there's a lot of judgment and meeting down this stretch. Every time you move into a gap, make sure you check those mirrors. Centre left to move into it, centre right to move out from it. Always be looking for the visible gaps ahead. So at this point they are fully committed to this road, so any cars coming generally will give you way, but don't presume that. A lot of people argue over priorities, but remember, first of all, priority is given, it's not taken. Normally always cars parked up on the left hand side. Don't just force your way through, reduce the speed if there is any oncoming vehicles, so you can see whether it's safe to continue. Down this road, a lot of people ask me what speed limit should they be doing. Now, presume it's perfectly clear. I normally say 25 is acceptable down this road. There is speed bumps and you are expected to slow down for them. If you hit those speed bumps at full on 30, you're just going to be picking up minors. Notice a bit further down, it does split into like a dual carriageway. There's normally cars always parked up on the left, so you can't always go to the left-hand lane. In fact, I probably wouldn't recommend it because there are so many cars parked up on the left, you'd just be constantly weaving. So how they're doing it at the moment is absolutely fine, and they won't pick up any faults for this. And as you can see, it quite quickly finishes. Now, there is no road markings, so make sure you do stick to the left as there is no road markings. Last thing you want to be doing is driving in the middle of the road. Again, down this stretch is that really awkward bit of road where it's a 30-mile-per-hour road and there are speed bumps all the way down it. Sometimes you just can't hit them comfortably because there's cars parked up on the left. If that is the case, you are allowed to go that little bit slower. Remember, speed bumps are there to slow us down. Now, personally, I hate this roundabout. It's really small and it's really hard to see what other people are doing in terms of signals and where they're going. You'll notice that they were quite hesitant here. There was a really good large gap where they could have moved out. So they would have picked up a minor fault here for hesitation. As soon as you exit that roundabout, scan that crossing. The last thing you want to be doing is ploughing through that when pedestrians are trying to use it. It is directly after the roundabout, so people tend to miss it. Quite a common place to get pulled over, and it is fairly busy at times. If it is a little bit busier and you can't find gaps to move out, do your observations and put your signal on. You are allowed to wait with your signal on while you are prepared. I wouldn't do it before then in case somebody does give you way. And if somebody does slow down and give you the real intent that you're allowed through, take that opportunity. Now, coming up, I always recommend second gear for this because it's quite tight. There's cars parked up on the left. You don't know what's coming from the other side of the bridge. Again, here, it can get a little bit tight when there are cars parked either side. As I say in quite a few of my videos, less space, less speed. If you do have to get past a tight gap, make sure you reduce that speed. Now, there's not a set speed that you have to go through these gaps, just the tighter it is, the slower you go. So coming up is a crossing. Scan the crossing, scan the crossing, and scan the crossing. Make sure there is no pedestrians going to use it. So this, it just came out from nowhere. My learner did react in good time and they did stop the car, and before they moved off they did check their mirrors. Not an ideal situation, but it is what it is. Now, I like the fact that they held back here because there wasn't a huge amount of space in front of them anyway, and they did give the learner vehicle plenty of room to move out. Sometimes it's better just to let people in than kind of push up right next to everything, make their life a difficulty. Remember, a lot of it is on a situational basis. Then it was perfectly safe and perfectly allowable to let that learner vehicle emerge. There will be some situations where people want to come out and it's best not to let them. So same with the other angles of this junction, I highly recommend if you are the second vehicle you do not enter and you hold back behind the giveaway line. This was because I do know of quite a lot of people that have failed because they entered as the second vehicle. This is perfectly acceptable at every other crossroads in my opinion other than this one and maybe a couple around Birmingham like at Coventry Road. So they saw a good gap, they took it, no issues there whatsoever. So coming up, it is getting fairly busy. There will be a lot of judgment and meeting situations at this time. Schools are about to come out. It's a Friday. Some have already finished. A lot of people finish work early. Now, coming up, you'll notice that they are progressing forwards. At the moment, it's too tight for them to fit through, so they do keep it very, very slow. If they'd have gone any faster at that point, they probably would have failed. Remember, it's not just about the space, it's also about the speed. Now, the gap they just had, personally, they should have just kept going. The speed was very, very reduced, but I don't think there was a need to stop there. Slow, yes, but not stopping. On this roundabout, there is a little bit of hesitancy again. There was a gap at the very beginning to go, but they didn't take it. Keep an eye out for people's positioning and their signals at the same time. At this junction coming up, it can be quite misleading because it's not actually a junction. It's just a really strange stretch of road where your road continues and there is giveaway lines either side. Think of it as you're progressing on a road and there's a crossroads to your left and to your right. You don't need to give way to anyone because the lines are not on your side. Now, at the traffic lights, they are going to be turning left. There will be a repeater red light there, and that is not for you because it's just a repeater. That red light shows for the traffic on the other side. Again, at this roundabout, there is hesitation. They're not looking at the signals of the other cars or their positioning. So it's really quite busy at this roundabout at this time. So this is where you really need to look at their positioning and their signals. The reason I say positioning and signals is you can't trust people's signals on their own. Sometimes they'll forget to signal, sometimes they'll just have the wrong one on, sometimes they just don't care. So everyone's favourite manoeuvre, pull up on the right and reverse 2 cars' lengths. From what I remember, observations were missed out here. You must look all the way around before you start the manoeuvre, and then constantly as you're doing it. If there is anything like reverse cameras in the car, you're allowed to use it, but it cannot be the main focus of where you're looking. You should be looking over your far left shoulder out the rear window. Do stop for all the passing cars, which is perfect. I'm seeing this side used more and more. The bad side to it is the bit at the end where you emerge out is really hard to see. This is the hard part. It's so hard to see what's coming from your left and right. This is definitely a peep and creep situation. So all in all, not a bad route. Let me know what you think and how you find it.